So, Angela, it's nice to see you. I hope it's not our last meeting, but The Walking Dead is coming to an end. And I want to ask you for a truthful answer. Is the ending that we will receive something you think is the best you guys could do, or you could have two more seasons, but they said you have to finish, so you're finishing?
I mean, well, we are finishing because we had to finish, but I do think that the final episode turned out really well, and I hope that the audience will love it. It's just, I think that everybody who worked on it tried to pull out all the stops. So it's incredibly emotional. There's great action and horror in it. And I just really love the work that everybody did on the episode. So I hope that fans will be satisfied.
When you were writing it, did you feel the tension of all people around? Because this show was long with us, and it has probably every year bigger group of fans that are waiting not only for the story but to see how does it end. Like great shows, for example, Lost had some problems with it. So I'm curious, how big tensions were there in the writers' room when you guys were there to give the people something that they will remember? Because you know how it is with the endings.
Yes. Lot of pressure, external and internal pressure, because I think writers in general, we're perfectionists and we want things to be great. But, circumstances are difficult, it's like one of the things that was a challenge is we were doing all of this during the COVID pandemic. So we had different rules than we used to have. So that limits certain things that we could do. So we had to be creative about how we make our choices so that you can still get that sense of like epicness that we wanted. But, a lot of eyes are on this. Like, it's not like we just go, here's what we're deciding, and that's it. Like, we're pitching it to the producers, we're pitching it to the network and the studio. We're talking the actors through our plans, and sometimes they had their own input on things. So I think that, I truly think that this represents, it's what we wanted to do as writers, but it's also like there was a lot of support from the people around us to make it as great as we possibly could.
And how big input had Kirkman in the final story? Because I know that you guys went far from what he created. Did he had any input, or it was only like, okay, do whatever you guys do, I will see it on the screen?
Kirkman, he is a producer on the show, and he's an active producer on the show. So when we do a pitch, he's there, or if he can't be there because he's working on his other projects, we send him a recording of like everything we've done. He gets all the documents. So usually the great thing about Robert is he's so collaborative, and he is himself a writer. And so he gives us a lot of leeway. When I hear from Kirkman, it's because he'll call up and be like, hey, I just want you to reconsider this one thing. And so when he does give a note like that, then we really pay attention, because he's so rarely, he's so supportive of us. And he kind of gave me the thumbs up if he felt like he was like, good job with this. So that was really nice.
And also we're saying that this is the ending, but to be honest, it's not, because it's give this trampoline for other shows and for some of the characters going wider. So how was it when you guys were writing those things to give them proper ending, but not to finish them off?
Yeah, I mean, that's a challenge, but I feel like if you look at a lot of endings, it depends on the genre of the show, but it's like, you're often sort of leaving a door open for the viewer's imagination to kind of like imagine like where their lives take them after that, if they're continuing to live at the end. So that's kind of the tactic that we use with these characters that we knew needed to go off into spin-off. We wanted to give them closure on some of their major emotional stories that we've been telling for them, but also just leave a door open so that we know that they have other adventures ahead. And that's kind of like the way that we approached it. But we definitely wanted to give some closure for the show itself, since this is a chapter that's ending.
But where did you have any endings in mind? For example, like you have those great shows like Sopranos, like Shield, from the other genres, Friends or Seinfeld, that those endings are something beyond the TV series that everybody's saying like, whoa, how'd they do it? And I'm curious, when you were looking for some inspirations, were you also looking those directions, or you said, screw whatever it is past and beyond, we're doing our own thing, we'll try to do something ours?
I think it's a mix of both. I mean, I think like as TV writers, it's continuing education for us at all times. So anything we watch, anything that's out there in pop culture, we're enjoying as fans, but we're also dissecting it to kind of think about like, what is it about this that worked versus what didn't work in this other thing? And that's just what we all do as students, just as I'm sure as like you in your job, like you're always like thinking about like, why do things work this way? What are good questions? Like, how can I like present pop culture in a way that's meaningful? So I think that we're always taking lessons from things we watch, but at the same time, we have to think about what is the story that this show has been telling and that this comic has been telling, and how do we think we translate that into something meaningful for the viewers? So it's a little bit of both. I mean, of course, we studied things that we thought worked or didn't work. And I think like what we ultimately felt was what makes something work is if it feels like it is true to the story that has been being told the whole time, So I think like that's the best path we could take. But of course, like when people are marked for spinoffs, that does change like what endings are possible to you, like we probably would have ended it differently if there were not spinoffs, but there are, which is great.
And I'm curious, so what's next for you? Which brand of this franchise will you take upon your wings?
So I'm an executive producer on the spinoff that Daryl's in right now. And so, but I'm not writing that one anymore. Like, so I'm making sure that I read everything, I attend meetings, like I weigh in on things and try to be a support to the new showrunner, David, who, was sort of like handpicked by Norman and that I met. And so that's what I'm involved in Walking Dead universe. And then I have multiple other projects and a project that has not been announced yet. That's a big project. So that's what I'm busy doing.
So I'm hoping to hear about it in New York in a week. And can you tell me what's the stage of the project, the movie about Rick? Because everybody was waiting for it. Like he disappeared in the helicopter, and he's still somewhere there floating around, waiting to land. And I'm curious, what's the proceed of this project?
Well, I can't, that's not in my world. That's a question for Scott Gimple or AMC, but we're all really excited that Rick and Michonne are going to have their own spinoff and that a story will continue there because that will really give them an opportunity to dig in deep. And they are very involved in their storytelling, which is really great. So I'm excited for that.
Sorry to interrupt. We have time for just one more question.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. And my last question is, looking on all the years of The Walking Dead, is there any character that you guys lost in this story that from the perspective of time you're thinking about, damn, it was a shame, he could give us more, but we had to let him go?
Oh, I mean, here's the funny thing. I think that we feel that about everybody. We actually never want to kill a character just because they suck. Like hopefully it's a character that everybody loves and that matters to the story, because that's kind of more how death feels to you. Like in real life is like even if somebody reaches like 98 years old, you don't just go like, that didn't matter. Like it still matters to you. So yeah, but I think we feel that way.
But writing a story, sometimes you have this feeling like, then we don't have this character anymore, and he would be very helpful right now.
Oh, I mean, okay. Like if it's that, well, even there, like we feel that a lot. A character that I loved writing for was Glenn. So it's like, and he had a very specific personality. that when we took him out, we don't have that exact set of skills and personality and background. And that's true for like all the characters, they're all unique, but I felt that we lost some of he had a hopefulness still, that even as tough as he was one of the last people to ever kill a human. And like, there was something about that I felt like it gave us something special for the story. But you know, I missed Glenn.
All right, thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the flesh in New York in a week.
I won't be there. I'm going to be in Korea at the
Oh,
time.
come on!
Oh, I know. I'm so sorry.
Is this the big saying goodbye to the fans and you'll not be there?
I know. I'm so sorry. It was
All
my
right.
trip was booked before I knew that the New York stuff was happening.